You can't strike.
And the mood darkening as strikes continue and the government tries to clamp down on them.
You can't protest.
Our police, our intelligence services, undercover police officers, all of whom will be scrutinising every aspect.
And I won't apologise for the language that I used.
You can't. These are the interesting times. Hello everyone, my name's Matt Johnston and welcome to The Interesting Times, a show that likes to take a sideways swipe at politics right here in the UK. The nurses' strikes continues with the biggest one yet to be announced for the 6th of February, and Conservative MP for Ashford, a man asking if it was you that spilled his subsidised drink, Lee Anderson reckons he's got the answer.
I used to that with my little boy, my dog. People like doctors and professional people and people who've been through our schooling system and a university system and lived there all their life. Do you think once they're qualified they should be not forced but encouraged, let's say forced to work here in this country for a minimum of, say, I don't know, 5 years? What do you think?
What do I think? I think you're an idiot. Forcing doctors to stay in this country. Why stop there? Don't they have families we can kidnap? Next time you have a bright idea, keep it to yourself. Or clear it with a dog first. When it bites you, take the hint.
People like doctors and professional people and people who've been through our schooling system and a university system.
Yes, and pay for it. A lot of them go abroad because it's better pay. Something that was encouraged by, drumroll please, you. Now, for those of you that are starting to question if this is government policy, you are wrong to question it, because the government is planning to introduce new anti-strike laws, which will bring in something called minimum service levels. But as Sky News' Jane Secker pointed out to Conservative MP for Newbury, Laura Farris.
The point that the ambulance workers are striking about, though, isn't it? They would say that actually, whether it was a strike day or not, their response times are varying massively because they're absolutely struggling to offload their patients.
Exactly. We can't get minimum safety levels now, which is part of the reasons for having the strikes in the first place, due to underfunding by a political party. Which one? I'll give you a clue. There's a C, an N and a T in it. But no you, just them. It's the Conservatives. Of course it is. And Will Quince, who is the Conservative Minister of State for Health and Social Care, went on Question Time on Thursday to basically nod a lot.
Let's just look at a graph looking at funding of the NHS. The UK has fewer doctors and fewer nurses, we're talking about here. This will be familiar to you in terms of where funding was for the NHS before the Conservative government came into power and where it is now. So as you can see, if you look at the average there, it's pretty dramatic in terms of the drop.
Yes, the graph is bad, but don't worry, it gets worse.
A government that has literally sent billions of pounds of taxpayers' money up in smoke through unusable PPE, that's wasted billions in crony contracts to Conservative friends and donors. If you want to know where the money is, look there.
That's right. That last year's shown also includes PPE payments made and wasted to Tory donors, House of Lords cronies and fast-tracked fat cats for what was essentially PPE so useless it couldn't double up as a bin bag. But we all know what the Conservatives think of these strikes.
Actually, the right to strike has never been an unqualified right.
Yeah, it kind of is.
They're taking away our right to strike because they can't get the pay right to keep our members, to keep the staff in the NHS. Lives are being lost because of the way that the government's running the NHS.
Wait, the government's running the NHS? Oh, you mean into the ground. Gotcha. So, what is the government doing about these protests for these soon-to-be illegal strikes? That's right, make the protests illegal as well. The government is introducing, look, we've done a thing bill to allow the police to do what the police are allowed to do now.
They are at the moment. You can arrest people crossing the road for obstruction. You can do that already.
The laws already existed to stop people from essentially stopping traffic. These laws already exist. And instead of, which is what the police have asked for, clarity on existing rules, he's gone, no, we're going to do a brand spanking new bill. Aren't we the party of law and order?
And this is marvellous because I agree with Nicola. The truth is...
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the I feel so dirty look of having Richard Tice agree with you. So, are the Conservatives the party of law and order? Actually, yes. Since the 2019 general election, there's been an increase in fines for illegal lockdown parties, tax avoidance, and now for failing to wear a seatbelt in a moving vehicle. Rishi Sunak here talking to the British public like we're a 4-year-old asking where the sun goes at night. He was delivering a little segment about what levelling up is.
Hi. One of my New Year's promises to you was to grow the economy, and today we're announcing the second round of allocations from our Levelling Up Fund.
Just words like growth, agenda and twat. Sorry, he didn't say that last one, it just came to me for some reason. So tell me more.
Start changing the funding formulas to make sure that areas like this are getting the funding that they deserve. Because we inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas.
A man true to his word, Rishi has taken £90 million for his particularly wealthy Richmondshire constituency. In fact, 63% of the £1.9 billion being given as part of the Levelling Up project will be given to Conservative constituencies, even though they only account for 55% of MPs in the House of Commons. Level up, more like a stitch up. A video has emerged as well of Braverman being confronted by a survivor of the Holocaust on the language she used to talk about refugees, or she calls them illegal immigrants, calling it an invasion and referring to them as a swarm.
When I hear you using words against refugees like swarms and an invasion, I am reminded of the language used to dehumanise and justify the murder of my family and millions others. Why do you find the need to use that kind of language?
Why indeed. Her response?
That we mustn't shy away from saying there is a problem. And I won't apologise for the language that I've used.
Just to be clear, when a Holocaust survivor tells you the language you're using is dangerous, and when a petrol bomb has been thrown at an immigration centre, maybe have a think about what you're saying. The video, unsurprisingly, went viral, which brought this response from the Home Office.
The video has been heavily edited and doesn't reflect the full exchange. Since the footage misrepresents the interaction about a sensitive area of policy, we have asked the organisation who posted the video to take it down.
Context? That's the problem? Well, unless the bit that's missing is you saying, "Hey everyone, I'm applying for the role of Gestapo commander in a local production of The Sound of Music. Here's my audition." Then I don't think there's really too much to add, is there? Nadeem Zahawi has settled a tax bill with HMRC by paying a penalty of £1 million. This has raised so many questions about what he did to justify making that payment. Nadeem, who was Chancellor of the Exchequer in Boris Johnson's government, says he's done nothing wrong, or at least I imagine he would do if he said anything.
I think if you've got questions, you need to put them to Nadeem Zahawi.
We did.
I don't know any more than...
Hello, Mr Zahawi. Have you been honest about your tax affairs, Mr Zahawi? Have you had to settle with HMRC, Mr Zahawi?
Instead, it was left to his wingmen to cover for him.
Nadeem Zahawi, the headlines continue to swirl about whether he did or did not mislead journalists about business dealing months before settling a multi-million-pound tax bill. He chairs your party. We need a statement from Mr Zahawi, don't we?
Well, the HMRC are the people who look at people's tax affairs.
You don't know whether he sorted out his tax affairs while he was the Chancellor, when he was actually the taxman's boss, which I think many people would think is a blatant conflict of interest.
I spent the whole of last week in the United States of America and in Canada, back in the UK early on Friday morning. On an overnight flight.
I don't know. I'm not responsible for his personal tax affairs.
I've seen no evidence, and I think neither have you, to suggest any impropriety on behalf of Nadeem Zahawi.
I hear that. Well, that's reassuring. Not so much tax evasion as tax question avoidance. And that's it. No time to talk about Scotland attempting to pass a gender reform bill, but Westminster was having none of it. Nicola Sturgeon, who was voted into power by 1,242,380 Scots, was overruled by Rishi Sunak, who was voted into power by the simple act of standing and everyone else standing down. That's democracy done UK style. No time to talk about Sajid Javid, the former Health Secretary, saying it would be a good idea to have payments for NHS and GP appointments. Sajid actually won't be standing again for re-election, as he explained to Sky's Beth Rigby.
Why are you walking away?
I'm proud of what I've done, whether it was as Community Secretary, helping after the Grenfell tragedy, as Home Secretary with the Windrush scandal and keeping the country safe, Chancellor helping to deliver Brexit. And
wait, those are the bits that you're actually proud of?
But when it comes to the NHS, you have to do what's fair, of course, and you have to do what's affordable. And I do think it is fair that the government did what it did, which is accept the recommendations of an independent pay review body.
It's not independent, as was pointed out by Kay Burley to Minister who already knew that, Robert Jenrick.
And there was an independent pay review last year which concluded that nurses should get the pay rise that they have. We accepted their recommendations.
It isn't independent, is it?
It is independent.
OK. Is it not presided over by the Prime Minister, and lots of government ministers are involved in deciding how much that money is?
Well, government ministers play a role in it.
Don't ministers tell that pay review body how much is in the pot?
Well, we do say what's affordable.
Surely ex-Health Secretary Sajid Javid has an answer.
The NHS is funded through general taxation.
Yeah. We all want it to be there for us in the future, for ourselves, for our children, providing us with really good health care.
Yeah, it's called paying your taxes. But don't tell me, tell him or her who's married to him or him. No time to talk about Jeremy Hunt or Drina Jeremy Hunt.
Hi, can I get a flat white, please?
No time to talk about 3 MPs who are taking the government to the ECHR, which as of today hasn't been outlawed yet. They are saying that the government should have launched an independent investigation into Russian interference into the Scottish independence and UK leaving the EU referendums. Well, the European Court of Human Rights have contacted the government with a list of questions to answer by April the 23rd, to which they will no doubt respond by ignoring it. April? That's 3 months away, like any of us are going to still be here then. And finally, and I thought I would leave this until last, as it is obviously a very sensitive topic, so it gives you the chance to skip this knowing there's nothing after it. Met Officer Policeman David Carrick has this week been convicted of 48 rapes over a period of 17 years, all of them as a serving police officer. He threatened these women with violence and even death if they spoke up. Now, obviously, this is a topical comedy show, so as you can imagine, there's not really much in the way of light humour about this. But it does raise questions about why the police chose to protect one of their own to these extremes, especially when you see that his nickname in the force for many years was Dave the Bastard. Well, he's going to prison now. And for an ex-policeman and serial rapist, the story suggests that he's going to get it extra tough. And let's hope that's the case with the soon-to-be known as Dave the Bastard that constantly falls down the stairs or in the showers, or Dave the Bastard who has a surprising amount of the chef's shit in his pudding, or Dave the Bastard from D-Wing, but his testicles are in E-Wing. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you are enjoying these vids, then please don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.